Welcome, fellow travel agents, to another exciting episode of Destination Morocco podcast. Today, we're diving into the world of crafting unforgettable Moroccan experiences for your clients. We'll uncover the secrets of transforming their travel dreams into reality. So, let's embark on this journey together and unlock the magic of Morocco. So, for this episode, we have Ted with us. Welcome back, Ted. It's always amazing to have you. We're very grateful for you. So, it's going to be really, really very informative episode and a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks very much. So it's fun to be here. And this is a bit of a different episode. So for everyone listening, this is going to be going out on our podcast feed as a regular episode. For our regular listeners, you'll probably find us a little different focus because we really want to do something that speaks to the travel agents in the travel industry, who, of course, we work with a lot, and we get a lot of their questions. And there's a particular challenges and questions that they have about framing Morocco, talking about it, explaining it to their clients. So you might find that some of that focus and the angle of what we're talking about here is a little bit different from our usual episode. So if you're wondering why that's the case, this is why, because we really want to talk to the travel agents. It's a bit of a behind the scenes look maybe of how Destination Morocco does things and sells tours and puts everything together. And for me, too, I was excited to be here because I don't know if I've really talked about this much, but my background is travel and tourism as well. I mean, I work in podcasting now, but for years I was a tour guide and a tour director and worked in travel and tourism and the park service in Canada, too. So I've always been interested in the industry and just kind of the behind the scenes look as well. So I can speak to some of that, but I'm happy to help have the conversation here with Azdean.
Thank you. Thank you. So, what do we have today, Ted?
Yeah. So some of this, well, I mean, most of this has come from, the conversations, the interactions that you've had with people over the months and years. And we try to compile it all here in one place, but explaining a bit about what it takes to sell tours and explain people what Morocco is like and how to get from the curiosity stage maybe to the point where people are actually booking and they're excited to go, of course. So I think it starts with the travel agents hear from clients that Morocco is calling, it's really interesting and it's exciting, but the planning feels overwhelming. So how, as travel agents, can they start to address that overwhelm and the psychology behind that? Like, how much do travel agents need to know in order to talk about Morocco to their people?
That's a really good question, Ted. Actually, they don't really need to know much because that's where we come in. You just need to know a little bit, know the location of Morocco, a little bit, cities. But the key here is the tour operator who's going to back you up, who's going to answer all the questions for you that your clients have and the support that you and your client will receive from the tour operator. So that's what I would recommend for travel agents. Select the right tour operator to work with, whether you're in the niche of adventure, family, any type of travel, that's the tour operator that you need to be working with. So that's really, really the key. Select the right tour operator for you first, and then the knowledge, you'll get it from the tour operator.
Mm-hmm. So if you're a travel agent, where do you start? What kind of questions would they ask of you then, the operator, where to start planning?
Well, there's lots of questions, and I always ask them, if they have booked their clients different destinations, look at those destinations. They need to know what their clients like and what they do not like and what they like to experience. Are they history buff? Are they like adventure? Or do they like leisure?
Mm-hmm. What kind of presentation maybe do people need to prepare for their clients in terms of like brochures or pamphlets and just getting maybe enough information without the client then also being overwhelmed?
Well, there's a lot of information online, and sometimes that really gets confusing. I would say just a simple itinerary should do because you don't want to do information overload because it's just going to confuse the clients. So just give them what they need and don't overwhelm them. So that's what they reach out to you because you're the expert, and that's what I would recommend.
And then how about in turn, like what kind of questions can the travel agents ask of their clients, potential clients, to gauge their knowledge and interest about Morocco? I mean, they may have some people coming in who've done lots of research and they know, and other people have largely no clue, but they've heard about Morocco and they want to learn more. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of questions to get that process going?
It's just ask them the same questions again. Pick the previous destinations. What do they like? Do they have any Dietary restrictions. Do they are they do they like history versus adventure or this or that or camping and stuff like that. So those
Mm,
are, when a travel agent works with their client already, they have a lot of information. That information is really really valuable, especially when you're traveling to Morocco, because yeah, Morocco is different than other destinations, but there's some common components, or that you can take in consideration and say, hey, we did this in when we were, for example, in Egypt or in Tanzania or South Africa, and it's going to be the same thing with a little bit of a Moroccan twist, to the local destination and stuff like that. So
mhm.
those questions are really really important. And also, a lot of travel agents, they know their clients better than anyone, and they work with them time and again. So it really minimizes that question. Say, hey, I know my client like this, and they don't like this. So, and that's what we go by.
True.
So yeah,
Mhm.
they may not seem like they know, the destination is just a different destination, but they know everything else about their clients, and that's extremely valuable.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and that leads to, I mean, travel agents, they do often have repeat customers and, who are looking to just go and try out different places and different destinations. What about people who maybe are fairly new to booking with a travel agent? They don't often do it, but for a number of reasons, they want to go that route when it comes to Morocco. So how do travel agents best communicate the role that they play in explaining and selling tours to Morocco?
That's a really good question. In that case, they need to reach out to us and get as much knowledge, information as possible. Just get, a lot of questions asked and answered, because that's going to give you a little bit of background, a little bit of knowledge about Morocco. And then when you have people asking you, or, sending you inquiries, you have a little bit of information to go with. But then you say, hey, I can find out more, or let's set up a one-on-one. And when they set
Mm.
up that one-on-one, we talk to them, or the tour operator talks to them before that, and then we give them more options, more information, and so forth. So when they speak to their client, they already have the background. They already not know the knowledge, and it's fresh. And again, Morocco,
Mm.
it's very unique. It's a beautiful destination, and I always split it into north and south. 7 days, 8 days north, and so forth. Then a combination, if more days are allowed and stuff like that. So, and it really really helps.
That reminds me, another thing we often talk about on this show is the misconceptions and the stereotypes that people have about Morocco. How can the agents best address those common misconceptions then, and kind of respond to any resistance they may hear from potential clients about Morocco?
That's a really good question, Ted, because I remember we did this. It was an episode that we did a couple of months ago, and the episode did really, really good because of those misconceptions. There's a lot of them. I would definitely recommend going to that episode and listen to them. There's misconception when it comes to safety, when it comes to many, many things. So it's a really deep question, but there's a lot of misconceptions that we have answered during that question. So I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was episode number 64, which came out July 1st of 2024. It's called Top Misconceptions About Morocco. And yeah, you really addressed a lot of those common concerns and stereotypes and the things that people might assume about Morocco, but they don't really know. And so you guys are the experts to set the record straight. So we'll
Absolutely,
put that
Ted.
link in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Ted.
All right. Well, I mean, let's talk about the nature of your tours. And, and the thing that makes you guys really stand out is the fact that you are locals, that you're born and raised in Morocco, and you know what you're talking about. You've been in the industry for a long time, and you have those kind of local connections and understanding that there may be multinational or different kind of corporations and tour operators. They may have a base, they may have some kind of connection there, but they're not really from Morocco. Like for you guys, you're Morocco, this is where you're from. So it does give you that deeper understanding. And um, how does that incorporate into how you design your tours? Like, does it give you a different perspective, knowing what people want to see?
It does give us an advantage because there's a lot of things the big operators, they may not have access to, but we have access to it. We're not a big
Mm,
company; we are a small company, and what makes us special is the relationship we have with our suppliers as well. Freelancers, local guides.
mm,
tour leaders, national guides, villages, if you would, experiences, if you would. And that network, it's one-on-one network. It's in the base level of networks, if you would. So it's very personal. So this person, for example, in Ait bin Haddu, this person in Imlil, this person in Warzazat, or the desert, and so forth. So that's what gives us that edge and that flexibility, because we can reach out to them versus going through the corporate ladder or the system. You have to do this before doing that and stuff like that for other large tour
Mhm.
operators.
Does that make you, I would think, you're able to kind of adapt and be a little more flexible if people want to make changes
Yes.
or special requests?
Yeah, very flexible, and also yes, absolutely, with the special requests as well. Yeah, definitely, Ted.
Mhm. So let's talk a bit about logistics. I mean, I'm sure common questions are, well, what is the transport like? What is the timing like? Am I going to be driving all the time? Is it going to be kind of go, go, go if I'm on a tour, right? And this people are talking to their agent. So there's some of those logistics and meals, free timing. How do you ensure that all those things are balanced?
Yeah, in terms of the logistics, it's very complex. I mean, it starts way before the guest comes to Morocco, and then everything is taken care of from the moment they arrive until the moment they depart. So we always work a day or two ahead of the actual tour, just making sure that everything goes smooth and so forth. So there's a lot of logistics and planning. When it comes to transportation, you have your car and driver pick you up every day after you have breakfast at the Riyadh or the hotel. And it depends, if it's private tour, if it's a group tour. The group tour, it's a little bit more complex than the private tour, because there's less travelers on the private tour versus the group tour. The group tour, you always have to allow yourself a margin, a little bit of time, just for things to get right, for the people to get together, to get to the bus, or and so forth like that. So you always want to give yourself that gap, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour, just to make sure you're not rushing people, and also you're not missing out something on that destination to go to the next stop, and so forth. So it's
Yeah.
just, you have to plan it right, but also you have to make sure, like you said, Ted, when you plan, you don't plan too much during the day. Just plan some
Mm.
certain things, but also you want to give the client a little bit of a freedom to enjoy the destination themselves. Just like you did, for example, in Marrakesh or in Fas, you take that little extra day because you just want to feel, hey, because you're not used to somebody planning stuff for you. It's like, hey, I feel good, I feel confident,
Yeah.
I can take a walk, with the family and the kids.
Yeah.
So, and that's really, really important when you're planning a tour. So you don't want to
Mhm.
pack everything from the moment they get into the vehicle until you drop them off in dinner. It's just they're going to get really, really tired. So you have to plan it right. So normally we split the day in, first half and second half. And also you have the third half, and that's for dinner and stuff like that. Dinner, or, a spa experience, hammam experience, and stuff like that. So you
Yeah.
have to, yeah, yes, you have to manage the time right, and you have to plan it right, and don't over plan.
Yeah. Now, so what role does the client have in planning their itinerary, then in collaboration with the travel agent, with their agent, who in turn is talking to you? Because it can seem like a bit of a complex process, but what's the communication and process of putting an itinerary together?
What makes the process easy is the questions that the travel agents ask their clients. Because when you ask a lot of questions, you are engaged in that conversation, you are in control of that conversation, and also you're eager to learn more about the client and their wants and needs and so forth. So, and then when those questions that you have, you come back to us and say, hey, this is what we can do. I'll give you an example. Sometimes they'll say, hey, I have 5 days. I love Fas. I want to go to Fas. I want to go to that city. It's blue. I don't remember the name of it. Oh, it's Chefchaouen. Yeah, Chefchaouen. Okay. And then I want to do the desert experience. And then we explain to them, we cannot really do it in 5 days. We have to split, either you can see the north side of Morocco or the south side. If you have 5 days, then we say, hey, where are you staying? What's your, arrival city? What's your departure city? For example, they say, hey, I'm arriving to Casablanca and departing from Casablanca. However, I haven't bought the tickets yet, and this trip is let's say September of 2025. So we would recommend, hey, if 5 days, it's not a lot, but when you arrive to Casablanca, depart from Fes. So that way, if you go into Europe, it's easier. You start in Casablanca, you go up north, and you do your site visit in all those really imperial cities, and then afterwards, you don't waste time going back to Casablanca and then traveling. You can just travel, take from Fes. We do this quite a bit with a lot of people that are traveling through Europe. So what really the starting point is the arrival date. For example, we arrive in Casablanca, departing city. Those are important. It helps know how to create that itinerary very accurately. First, versus, I'll give you an example. Let's say you say, "Hey, I have 5 days coming from Casablanca, departing Casablanca." Then we can plan something around it. But if you say, "Hey, I'm not sure what day I'm coming," versus I'm probably going to be arriving in Marrakesh, maybe departing from Marrakesh. We don't know, so we don't put, for example, September 1st as your starting date. We just put day one. But then when you have that information, then we'll update it, and the itinerary is going to say September 1st. But then we're always going to go back and make those changes. So it's very important to know the arrival city and the departure city, because it helps us. Even though if you don't know the time, it's not an issue. But then the time will play a big role as well once you know it, and they book their flight. And then we can say, "Hey, you're arriving to Casablanca early morning, which is good. We'll take you to the hotel, get some rest, and then we can do a little bit of sightseeing in the city." But then if you're arriving in the afternoon or late, then we cannot do that until the next day. So that's the start of the questions that the travel agent needs to know or ask their clients. And then they want to see the north side, they want to see the south side. Be generic more than specific. And then when we start building the itinerary, when we first craft the itinerary, we present it to the travel agent, then they present it to their client, and there's a little bit of back and forth. Unless we do like this, like a live, we can make the changes on demand, for example, and then we start making the changes that are needed, making the recommendations and so forth, until the itinerary is completely finalized. And that's what I would recommend. Then when the itinerary is finalized, then it becomes a proposal, and then we hone in and into the details. Day one, this is what it's going to be. Day two, day three, and so forth and so forth, until everything is approved by the agent, and for the agent, everything is approved by their client.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to know that process. So this comes back to when, as you've often said, to try to plan ahead as best you can, as far ahead as you can, because doing this last minute, you'd kind of run out of quite a few options.
Yeah, last minute is very challenging. The good thing is, a lot of respect to travel agents. When they do
Yeah.
this, they do it really, really, really ahead of time. It's the B2C that is challenging when it comes to last minute. So when the B2B, it's definitely not an issue, because the travel advisors, they do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then what do you do when people have like particular interests, or even if they want to go a step further and say, "I'd like a themed tour," like they want to do a food tour, maybe with cooking classes and going tours around the market and stuff like that. Or it could be history, or who knows, it could be something cultural or even architecture, whatever it is. Like, how can you incorporate those demands? And then really the other question that's related is like, do those things kind of supersede the regular priorities, the regular things people might see, like the regular touristy kind of spots? Like, are you able to incorporate both depending on how much time you have?
Yes, it's a really good question. Yeah, because the food tour, normally it's done either in the afternoon or early evening. I would recommend early evening, because there's
Hmm.
it's actually a food tasting tour. So you're sampling the food throughout. For example, if you're in Marrakesh,
Yeah.
which we recommend always, you're sampling a lot of food from different places. Some delicacies, some stuff, sweets, olives, and stuff like that. So and then at the end, if you still have room for dinner, we can stop by and have a quick bite as well. But you can do all those things in
Hmm.
one day. For example, in the morning we can do the history. When you do the history, the art and architecture, all those are in the same. You talk about them in the same. If you go, for example, we're still in Marrakesh, we're talking about Madrasat bin Yusuf. We talk about secret gardens, or you know um, uh,
Yeah.
Bahia Palace and stuff like that. So you'll see those things during the day, and then you have your lunch, take a little break, and then we'll pick you up and do the walking tour. So that way you're not tired. So there's a break. We can plan it that way, and we recommend it that way.
Hmm.
So And also, you can do cooking classes as well. And sometimes the Riyadh where you're staying will conduct them. Sometimes we'll do an offsite, a different Riyadh or a different location, whether you're in Fas, whether you're in the desert, or whether you're near Marrakesh. And those are really, really good experiences. And normally, the cooking class, it depends if you go to the market, or if everything is just planned for you at the Riyadh, then you go into the Riyadh and everything is pre-prepared and done, that will take probably a couple hours. But if you go to the market and select your vegetables, your meat, and all that stuff, then it'll take probably about 4 hours or so.
That's good. Yeah, there's lots of options
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
And that kind of leads into like, how do you go beyond the typical tourist spots? So if people want to see a bit more, see something a little different, is it easy to incorporate that into your plans and itineraries?
Yes, definitely. And a lot of spots, even if they are really touristy, you can still get to them at a time that they are not really packed and busy. For example, Ait bin Hatto, it is a major, major stop, very important, but you cannot, go through Ouarzazate without seeing it. But the
Mm.
difference is planning what time to see it. And the best time
Mm.
to see it is really early in the morning. And again, but you have to plan it ahead of time, depending where you're staying, where you're coming from. So a lot of people, they visit it normally, I would say between 2 to 5 p.m. when it gets really, really busy and it's packed, and they may change their, affect their experience. So again, a lot of places, just I recommend, planning it right, departing from wherever you're coming from, and timing it the right way so you can enjoy that site, because there's just one. So and
Yeah.
everybody wants to go see it. But then for the other experiences and places, yes, we do plan them as well. So that way, it feels like, it's just you and the destination, and that specific
Mm.
spot, and you're enjoying it tremendously. Yeah. So
That's nice. How much does it depend on the time of year? Like, are there real busy times here and times where it's really quiet?
well, summertime, we always say summertime is slow, but it's still busy because,
Mm.
depending on the location, like Tangier is super busy during the summertime. Marrakesh is busy throughout the year. Casablanca, it's not so much, with the mosque and a few other destinations. So each city really has its peak time and stuff like that. But Morocco as a destination, it's quiet, a little bit quiet during July and August, and then the first 2 weeks of December. But everything else, it's really, really packed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's just remind the people, what are the best times of year that you recommend people go?
The best time of the year that I would recommend is go between March and May.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one time that I would recommend. The second, I would recommend June. Then I would recommend mid September, because in summertime, Morocco is busy because a lot of Moroccans are coming from Europe, from United States, and so forth. Especially the school system in Europe is different than the US, and that's why the Moroccans coming from Europe, they sometimes they take a vacation a month or 2 months, and then they go back. So they always come back, to Morocco in July and August, but they have to go at certain point before school starts. The same thing for the US. The US, they have school starting different times depending on
Yeah.
the state, the city, and so forth. So those are really kind of busy months. And then I would say mid September is good. It's still going to be hot. October is good. November is good. But you'll see the change of the temperature slightly, slowly. Not so much. You'll notice it probably during the day, but during the early morning, late, when the sun goes down, you'll see the temperature
Mm.
change. And then it gets really cold December, January, and February.
Okay.
Yes, and then you can still travel in February, but it's going to be a little bit of rain, a little bit of cold. If you're reminded, then you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there'd be a lot fewer crowds by then.
Yes, yes,
So, I mean, as far as you guys are concerned, you can do things year round if
yes.
that's when people want to go, right?
Yes, that is true. So we do year round, because again, different people, they take vacation at different times and so forth and so forth. So and we plan
Mhm.
accordingly to the time that they have available.
Yeah. What about some like surprise, unexpected things, features you can add to a tour? What are those ideas? And is that something that you coordinate with the travel agent, or is it more directly with the client once they're on the tour?
We have to coordinate with the travel agent. We cannot do anything without the approval the travel agent. Obviously we let them know and say, hey,
Mm,
what's the reason they're visiting Morocco, why, and so forth. And it's like, hey, they're celebrating the 25th anniversary, and then we just plan something and say, hey, this is what we're going to do for them as a surprise. And then when the surprise happens, it's magical, it's very beautiful, whether it's
nice.
dinner, whether it's all kind of stuff that we plan for them. But obviously we don't do anything without the approval of the travel agents because we represent them.
Yeah. And then let's bring it back to, well, here we're talking here, it's getting late 2024, and people are planning ahead in 25 and so on. What are some emerging trends in Morocco travel that we should be aware of right now?
Oh, there's so many. A lot of the travelers now, they're traveling in small groups.
Mm,
And what they're trying to do is, versus going from destination to destination, they want to stay in one destination, which is really good. So let's say, for example, Morocco, as a country, it is a beautiful, beautiful country. There's a lot of things to see and do, but also there's some people that they want to stay, like the hub cities, for example. A hub city is
yeah.
Fes, which means that you can stay in Fes. You can stay, for example, 1 week in Fes and do day trips. You can go to
Mm,
Tangier, you can go to Chefchaouen, you can go Volubilis, you can go Tetuan, you can do so many things in those day trips. So, but you always go back to your Riyadh and stay the night in Fes. So,
right.
a hub city, for example, is Marrakesh. So you can do things and plan things around it as well. You can do a day trip to Essaouira, day trip to spend it with the Berber family. Many many things that you can do. So, hub cities, they give you that option, and also what they give you is the option, instead of you staying your guests staying for example, at a hotel or staying at a Riyadh, you can stay in a private villa. So it's
Mm,
just them, and they have everything catered to them. So they have their own staff that care to them in the villa. So they take care of them. Breakfast will be breakfast in the morning. They wake up, they'll have their breakfast. They'll go, they'll,
mm,
do their tour and stuff like that, come back. If they want to have dinner at the house, it'll be at the house. If they want to do entertainment at the house and have entertainment at the house versus going to a different location. So, and it just gives it that that really really intimate and personal feeling and experience,
mm,
because everything is done for you, everything is catered for you. So if you have, let's say, for example, 10 people, they want to stay in Marrakesh for let's say for 5 days, 4 days even, there's a lot of things that they can do in those 4 days without them really going, from city to city to city, without them getting tired, but at the same time enjoying every experience and immersing themselves in the local experience and in that small group of travelers. So
yeah.
yes, yeah, that's one of the trends. But when it comes to villas and stuff, you really really have to do it ahead of time, book it ahead of time. So that's what we're seeing. A lot of people, just like in the past, before they were not no riads, because they were all privately owned and they were just houses or residence for the locals. Then when people
Hmm.
start using them as guest staying, it's different comparing to the hotels. In the past they were just the hotels. You cannot stay anywhere else. But then the Riyadh came in, everybody wanted to experience that local house, that 19th century house, that
Yeah.
multiple floors or levels and water fountain in the middle and so forth. Now it's the
Mm,
villas. So that's what it's really
I
trending.
see.
Small group of people, they go, it saves them money, a lot of money, but most importantly it saves them time, because they get to
Mm,
do a lot of things. There's no, you don't worry about check in and check out, the time to say, hey, we'll stay late, and you're gonna go into the hotel or to the Riyadh late. No, it's you go in, you do everything on your own pace, so no one is rushing you. You can take your time in doing things. So,
mm,
for example, let's say you would normally have, if you want to do a henna experience, you'll go to the house, or to the place and have your henna. And when you stay in the villa, you can bring those artists to the villa and have the guests just enjoying themselves, just chit chatting, talking music and all kind of stuff, and
yeah,
at the
that's
same
nice.
time having the henna done for them. So there's many things you can do. You can travel to Morocco with any type of budget, but
Mm,
that's what we recommend.
interesting. Yeah, that's good to know. That's kind of, as you say, a change and evolution from the Riyadh experience, which of
Yes.
course is wonderful too. But this
Yeah.
kind of takes it up a different level.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Ted.
I
Yes.
see. All right. Well, travel agents who are listening, what's the best way for them to reach out to you, initiate, take the next step, and learn what they need to learn?
They can email us. We have a specific email for the travel agents, which is agents with S at destinationsmorocco.com. That's destinations with an S, morocco.com. And that's the email. Or they can just go to our website and set up a one-on-one. Because
Hmm.
if you're not familiar with the destination, that's the first step that I would recommend. And you can have as many one-on-one virtual meetings or discovery calls as you like. There's no cost. We just share information, answer all the questions you have, and help you build your basic knowledge about Morocco. And the good thing about Morocco, it really does not take a lot to learn about the destination. So it's yeah, the name of the cities are kind of sometimes weird and it's kind of difficult to pronounce, but once you pass it, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll put in a pitch for the podcast, of course, and
Yes.
we're coming up not too long from now on 3 years of doing this
Yeah.
show, and at close to 100 episodes. Lots of great information there. I like the mix that we have. Some cases like an overview of places and activities, and then sometimes we get into more of a deeper dive and really devote one episode to like one place. And the idea being like if you had more time, more than just a couple hours in a place like Volubilis maybe,
Yeah.
or Chef Shawan's a good example. If you really had a day or a couple days, then what would you do? So there's a nice mix of information there too through the podcast, which I always recommend people check out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, great. Well, I hope this is a good foundation for our agents and everyone listening to take the next step and get yourselves to Morocco. I can vouch from experience. It's a beautiful place. It's wonderful people,
Thank you.
incredible food, amazing landscape, and well worth the effort to get there. It's amazing.
Thank you so much, Ted. Always a pleasure, and I really, really appreciate all your help and everything. So
Cheers.
this has been an amazing episode. It's a lot of fun, and this is really, really geared towards travel agents because when we did the webinars, we do get a lot of the questions, even the ones that we could not answer on the live webinars.
Mm.
I still have them, so we want to answer as many as we can. We want to help you. We want to work with you. And we're here for you. So anything you need, just let us know, and we'll be there for you. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you to the listeners as well. We're very grateful for you. Thank you.
Cheers. We'll see you next time.
Do you dream of exploring the enchanted land of Morocco? Discover the magic with Destination Morocco, the ultimate travel experience for those seeking luxury and adventure. We specialize in crafting bespoke itineraries tailored to your unique tastes and desires. If you are a discerning traveler who values an immersive, curated adventure, then visit destinationsmorocco.com. That's destinations with an S, morocco.com. And let us bring your dream Moroccan vacation to life.